Morning comes softly to the southern city. The harbor is wrapped in pale mist. The first sunlight touches the tops of the palm trees, while the streets below remain cool and shadowed. You wake to the familiar sound of the Nile sheeted. The boat rises gently beneath you. For a moment, you forget where you are. Then you remember the journey, the villages. The gardens dot the scribes, the boat builders, the stone workers, and the quiet city beside the hills. Today, Hori tells you the river will carry you toward a valley of temples. Not a busy place, not a marketplace, a place of stone and silence. You step onto the deck. Cloud is standing near the shore. His blue cloth moves gently in the morning breeze. Clink. The small bell sounds. Breakfast is prepared. Bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. You eat while the crew prepares the sail. Soon the ropes are released. The boat turns into the current. The southern city slowly disappears. The houses become smaller. The harbor becomes quiet, and once again, there is only the Nile. The river is especially beautiful this morning. The eastern cliffs glow golden. The western desert remains pale beneath the early sun. Between them, the green river valley shines. Farmers are already working. A man guides an ox through a field. Two women gather vegetables. Children walk beside an irrigation channel. A fisherman pulls a net from the water. The same simple movements continue. Life beside the Nile has its own rhythm. Work. Rest. Water. Food. Sleep. And again, work. The boat continues south. By late morning, the fields begin to disappear. The riverbank becomes rocky. The cliffs rise higher. The Nile passes through a narrow valley. Hori lowers the sail. The boat glides forward slowly. The cliffs are quiet. No markets. No villages. Only occasional palms. And beyond them, the desert. Then you see something in the distance, a wall. Then another. Stone columns rise above the riverbank. The temples. They stand at the edge of the valley. Some are small. Some are enormous. Their walls are covered with carvings. Their entrances face the river. You understand why Hori called this a valley of quiet temples. The buildings seem to emerge from the desert itself. The boat approaches a small landing. You step ashore. The air is dry. Warm. Still. A stone path leads toward the nearest temple. The entrance is enormous. Two great walls rise on either side. Between them stands a doorway. The stone has been warmed by centuries of sunlight. You walk beneath it. The sounds of the river disappear. The temple courtyard is quiet. Tall columns surround you. Their capitals are shaped like flowers. Some resemble papyrus, others resemble lotus blossoms. You look upward. The columns seem impossibly tall. Birds circle above them. Their calls echo softly. A priest walks through the courtyard. He is dressed in white linen. He carries a small vessel. He pauses when he sees you. His name is Amenemhet. He welcomes you. You have come from the river. You nod. He smiles. Then you have already seen the greatest temple. You look surprised. The river. He nods. The river gives life to everything. You follow him through the courtyard. The temple is filled with carvings. Kings. Gods. Boats. Farmers. Animals. Flowers. Offerings. The images cover the walls. Some are deeply carved. Others are painted. Much of the color has faded, but traces remain. Blue. Red. Yellow. Green. You place your hand near the stone. You do not touch the carvings, you simply look. The walls seem to tell stories without speaking. A king stands before a god. Farmers bring offerings, boats travel along the river. Musicians play instruments. Workers carry baskets. The temple contains an entire world. Amenemhet explains that temples were places of worship, but they were also places where people worked, stored goods, prepared offerings, and recorded information. The sacred and the practical lived side by side. You continue into a shaded hall. The ceiling is painted deep blue. Tiny stars cover it. You look upward. It feels as though you are standing beneath the night sky. Thousands of years ago, someone painted these stars. Someone stood on scaffolding. Someone mixed the pigments. Someone carefully placed each mark. The ceiling is not simply decoration. It creates another world, a world above the temple. A sky captured in stone. You sit upon a low stone bench. The hall is cool. Outside, the desert is bright. Inside, everything is shadow. The contrast is peaceful. You hear the faint movement of air through the columns. A bird calls outside, then silence. Amenemhet leaves you for a while. You remain alone. There is nothing to do. Nothing to understand immediately. You simply sit. The temple seems to encourage stillness. After some time, you continue. A narrow doorway leads to another courtyard. This one contains a small garden. Date palms, lotus pools, fig trees. The garden is surrounded by high walls. The desert cannot be seen. It feels like a hidden oasis. A gardener waters the plants. His name is Ka. He smiles when you greet him. He tells you that the garden is maintained every morning. The trees need water. The pools must be cleaned. The flowers need attention. Even a sacred garden requires ordinary work. You watch him pour water from a clay jar. The water falls gently onto the soil. The earth darkens. The plant leaves become brighter. You realize again how precious water is here. Outside the garden is desert. Inside is green life. The difference is astonishing. You sit beneath a palm tree. The shade is cool. A lotus floats in a small pool. A bee moves from flower to flower. The gardener continues his work. For several minutes, no one speaks. The afternoon begins to pass. The sun moves slowly across the sky. The shadows of the temple columns become longer. Eventually, you return toward the river. Before leaving, you look back at the temple. It seems even larger from a distance. Stone against desert. Green against gold. Silence against the moving river. You wonder how many people once walked these same paths. Priests, workers, farmers. Travelers, families, children. Perhaps they stood in the same courtyard. Perhaps they watched the same sunset. Perhaps they too felt small beneath the enormous columns. You walk back to the boat. Cloud is waiting. His ears lift when he sees you. Clink. The bell sounds. You touch his neck. The boat is prepared for the evening. As the sun begins to descend, you leave the temple valley. The river carries you onward. Behind you, the columns slowly disappear. The stone walls turn golden. Then orange. Then dark red. The desert hills glow for a final moment. Then the sun sinks below them. The first stars appear. The river becomes silver. You eat dinner on the deck. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. The crew speaks quietly. No one seems eager to disturb the peaceful evening. The temples are now far behind. Only darkness remains along the shore. The boat drifts gently. She. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The river rocks you softly. Your thoughts return to the temple ceiling. The painted stars. You imagine those ancient artists working beneath lamps, carefully painting one star, then another, then another. Perhaps they never imagined that someone thousands of years later would look upward and wonder about them. But that is what happens with quiet work. It remains a stone, a painting, a garden, a boat, a written name, a small memory, a flower. Things made carefully can travel through time. The Nile itself is the greatest traveler of all. It has watched generations rise and disappear. Yet every morning it still moves beneath the sunlight. You close your eyes, the sound of water becomes softer. The desert sleeps, the temples sleep, the gardens rest beneath their walls. The farmers are home. The boat builders have finished their work. The scribes have put away their pens. And somewhere beneath the southern stars, another small lamp burns inside an ancient temple. You breathe slowly. In, and out. The boat rocks gently. Back and forth. Back and forth. There is nowhere else you need to go tonight. The journey can wait until morning. Let the river carry you. Let the darkness become peaceful. Let the ancient valley fade into dreams. She. Tomorrow, the journey will continue farther south, toward the great river islands and the quiet communities that live among the palms and rocks. But tonight, the temple stands silently beside the Nile. The stars shine above them, and the river continues its endless journey through the sleeping valley. Rest now. The Nile is carrying you onward. Morning returns to the Nile. The temples are far behind now. Only the memory of their tall columns remains. The river is calm beneath the pale morning sky. A thin mist drifts across the surface. The boat rocks gently. Shush. You wake slowly beneath the woven shelter. There is no need to rise quickly. The journey has become familiar. Wake. Listen. Breathe. Watch the river. And let the morning arrive in its own time. When you step onto the deck, the sun has just begun to touch the eastern hills. Cloud stands near the shore. His blue cloth is slightly ruffled by the breeze. He looks toward the water. Clink. His little bell sounds. Hori is preparing breakfast. Warm bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. You eat while looking south. The landscape has changed again. The river is broken by rocky islands. Some are small enough to cross on foot. Others stretch for a long distance between the two banks. Palm trees grow upon them. Small gardens cling to the fertile soil. A few houses can be seen beneath the palms. Hori points ahead. Today we visit one of the islands. The sail rises. The boat turns gently. The current carries you toward a long green island in the middle of the Nile. From a distance, it looks almost like a floating garden. Tall palms rise above the river. Date clusters hang beneath their leaves. Small patches of crops grow between the trees. A few goats wander along the shore. The island is surrounded by water on every side. As the boat approaches, you hear birds, many birds. Their calls rise from the palms. You can hear wings beating above the water. The boat reaches a narrow landing. Hori ties the rope. You step ashore. The ground is soft beneath your feet. The island feels different from the mainland. Quieter. More enclosed. The river surrounds everything. Wherever you look, water is nearby. A narrow path leads between the palms. You follow it slowly. The palms cast long shadows across the ground. Dates lie beneath some of the trees. A farmer gathers them into a basket. He smiles when you pass. His name is Wee. He has lived on the island all his life. He tells you that the island provides nearly everything his family needs. Dates. Vegetables. Fish. Goats. Water. Shade. The river is both boundary and connection. Do you ever leave? You ask. Date. Why smiles sometimes. Then he points toward the water, but the river always brings us back. You continue along the path. Small houses appear between the palms. They are made from mud brick. Their roofs are covered with reeds. Clay jars stand outside. Children sit beneath a tree. A woman is grinding grain. An old man repairs a fishing net. Life here is quiet. The island has its own rhythm. You reach a small garden. Vegetables grow in neat rows. Onions. Lettuce. Beans. Melons. A narrow irrigation channel carries water from the river. The farmer opens a small wooden gate. Water flows into the garden. The soil darkens. The plants seem to brighten immediately. You watch the water travel between the rows. Again, the river gives life. The same river that carries boats. The same river that fills canals. The same river that supports gardens. The same river that reflects the stars. You sit beneath a palm tree. The wind moves through its leaves. Hush. Hush. A date falls softly onto the ground. You pick it up. It is warm from the sun. We shows you how to remove the skin. The fruit is sweet, soft, rich. He laughs when he sees your expression. That is why we grow them. You thank him. A little later, you walk toward the opposite side of the island. The path rises slightly. From here, you can see both sides of the Nile. To the east, the desert hills rise beneath the sun. To the west, the river valley stretches into the distance. The island is green beneath you. The water surrounds it. It feels almost like a small world floating between two deserts. A fishing boat passes. The fisherman raises his hand. You wave back. Another boat follows. Then another. The river is never truly empty, even in quiet places. People are always traveling. The island children gather near the shore. They play with small wooden boats. One child pushes a tiny vessel into the water. It drifts away. Another child uses a stick to guide it back. You watch them. Perhaps they are learning the river without realizing it. They will grow up knowing its currents, its seasons, its moods. They will know where fish gather, where the water becomes shallow. Where the reeds grow thick. Knowledge does not always come from books. Sometimes it comes from simply living somewhere for a long time. By midday, the heat becomes stronger. The island becomes quiet. People retreat into the shade. You share lunch with we beneath the palms. Bread. Fresh vegetables, fish, dates, water. The breeze moves through the leaves. You listen to the river. Should your eyes become heavy. You lean against the palm tree. For a moment, you almost fall asleep. There is something about the island that encourages rest. Perhaps it is the shade, perhaps the water, perhaps the distant sound of leaves, or perhaps it is simply the feeling that nothing needs to happen. You close your eyes. The world becomes softer. The river becomes a quiet background. Birds call occasionally. A goat bleats somewhere nearby. A child laughs. Then silence. When you open your eyes again, The afternoon has begun. The sunlight is lower. The shadows are longer. The island has become golden. You walk back toward the harbor. Along the way, you pass a small shrine. It is simple. A few stone walls. A doorway. Flowers placed beside a small offering table. A woman arrives carrying fresh dates. She leaves them quietly, then walks away. There is no ceremony. Just a small gesture. A moment of gratitude. You stand outside for a while. The shrine faces the river. The water moves beyond it. You think about all the small sacred places along the Nile. Temples, gardens, shrines. Quiet courtyards. Places where people stop for a moment. To give thanks. To remember. To ask for protection. Then they return to ordinary life. The afternoon begins to fade. You reach the landing. The boat is waiting. Cloud stands nearby. He seems ready to continue. Clink. You touch his neck. The familiar sound makes you smile. The crew unties the rope. The boat moves away from the island. You watch the palms become smaller. The houses disappear among the trees. The children wave from the shore. You wave back. Soon the island becomes a green shape in the distance, then a dark line, then nothing. The Nile carries you onward. The sun begins to set. The western sky becomes orange. The eastern hills turn purple. The river reflects the colors. For a while, the entire world seems golden. You sit at the boat. There is very little wind. The boat moves slowly, quietly, almost as though it is floating between water and sky. Dinner is prepared. Bread, fish, vegetables, dates. You eat beneath the evening sky. Cloud rests nearby. The crew speaks softly. The river makes its gentle sound. Shoo. The first star appears, then another. The palms along the distant bank become silhouettes. A night bird calls. The sound travels across the water. Then fades. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks gently. You think about the island, the green palms, the gardens, the children. The fishermen. The quiet shrine, the sweet dates, the river surrounding everything. An island is a place surrounded by water. But perhaps the river does not separate it from the world. Perhaps it connects it. Boats come and go. Goods arrive. News travels. Families visit. Fishermen move between the banks. The island is part of the great river road. Just like every village, every temple, every garden, every city. The Nile holds them all together. Your breathing slows. The river becomes softer. The stars grow brighter. You imagine the island beneath the moon. The palm leaves moving gently. The gardens resting. The house is dark and quiet. The fishing boats tied securely to the shore. The little shrine waiting beside the water. Everything is still. Everything is safe. Everything can wait until morning. Shida, let the boat carry you. Let the river carry the thoughts of the day away. You do not need to follow the journey tonight. You only need to rest. Tomorrow, the river will carry you farther south. The hills will grow larger. The islands will become more numerous. And the journey will slowly approach the great southern frontier of ancient Egypt. But tonight, beneath the evening palms, the river is enough. The island sleeps. The desert sleeps. The boats sleep. And beneath the endless Egyptian stars, the Nile continues flowing. Slowly. Peacefully. Forever. Morning arrives with a pale silver light. The The island is already far behind you. During the night, the boat continued slowly along the Nile, carried by the gentle current and the patient hands of the crew. Now, as dawn spreads across the eastern sky, a new stretch of river appears. The banks are lined with reeds. Tall green reeds. Papyrus. Grasses bending gently in the breeze. The water between them is dark and calm. You wake to the sound of birds. One calls from the riverbank. Another answers from somewhere farther away. Then the familiar sound of the river returns, sheet-shot. You remain beneath the woven shelter for a little longer. The morning air is cool. The wooden deck beneath you is warm from the sleeping bodies of the night. The boat rocks gently. There is nowhere to hurry. You take a slow breath. Then another. Eventually, you step outside. The sky is becoming gold. Cloud is resting beside the river. His blue cloth is folded neatly. When he sees you, he raises his head. Clink. The little bell sounds. Hori smiles. Another quiet morning. You nod. Breakfast is already waiting. Warm bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Cool water. You eat while watching the reeds. They move together whenever the breeze passes one direction. Then another. They seem almost like a green sea. The crew prepares the sail. The ropes are loosened. The boat moves forward. Soon the river carries you toward a small village hidden among the reeds. At first, you see almost nothing, only palms, reeds. A few rooftops. Then the village appears. Several mud brick houses stand beside the water. Small boats rest along the shore. Fishing nets hang from wooden poles. Clay jars sit beneath shaded roofs. It is a quiet place. Perhaps only a few hundred people live here. There are no great monuments. No enormous walls. No busy market. Just homes, gardens, boats, and the river. Hori brings the boat toward the shore. You step onto a narrow wooden landing. A fisherman is repairing a net. He looks up. His name is Sabu. He welcomes you with a smile. He explains that the village depends almost entirely upon the river. Fishing. Small gardens. Papyrus. Reeds. A few goats. Some grain. Everything comes from the water or the soil beside it. You walk with him along the river bank. The fishing nets are made from carefully twisted fibers. Sabu shows you how the knots are tied. Each one must be strong. But the net must also remain flexible. He explains that experienced fishermen can recognize different fish by the way they move through the water. Some swim close to the surface. Others remain near the bottom. Some travel alone. Others move in groups. The river is their world. Sabu knows it as well as a farmer knows his field. He points toward a quiet patch of water. Fish gather there in the morning, then toward another. By evening, they move closer to the reeds. You watch the water. At first, it looks empty. Then a small ripple appears. Then another. A fish jumps. Splash. Sabu smiles. You see. You nod. The river reveals itself slowly. You continue through the village. A woman sits beneath a woven awning, preparing papyrus fibers. Two children carry small baskets. An old man repairs a wooden paddle. A young girl gathers vegetables from a garden. Everyone has something to do, but no one seems hurried. The village moves according to the river. Morning work. Midday rest. Afternoon work. Evening gathering. Night sleep. You pass a small house with a courtyard. A family is preparing bread. The smell is wonderful. warm grain. Smoke. Fresh dough. The mother smiles and offers you a small piece. You thank her. It is simple bread, but it tastes delicious. Perhaps food always tastes better when eaten beside a river. You walk toward the village garden. The soil is dark and fertile. Onions grow in rows. Lettuce. Beans. Melons. A few flowering plants grow along the edge. A narrow channel brings water from the Nile. The garden is small, but it is enough. You sit beside the irrigation channel. Water moves quietly through the soil. A tiny frog jumps from the reeds. A dragonfly passes above you. The village feels peaceful. You begin to understand why people remain close to the river. The desert surrounds them. But here there is water. Here there is food. Here there is shade. Here there is life. The Nile creates a narrow green world in the middle of the desert. By midday, the sun is high. The village becomes quiet. Most people move into the shade. Sabu invites you to rest beside his home. Lunch is shared. Bread. Fresh fish. Onions. Vegetables. Dates. Water. You sit beneath a palm tree. The river is only a few steps away. The breeze moves through the leaves. Hush. Hush. Your eyes become heavy. You lean back. The sounds of the village fade into the background. Someone is weaving. A child is laughing. A goat moves through the yard. A boat creaks against the dock. The river continues flowing. You close your eyes. For a while, you drift into a light sleep. When you wake, the afternoon has arrived. The sun is softer. The village has become active again. Fishermen return to the water. Children play beside the shore. Women gather vegetables. The old man is still repairing his paddle. Some things take a long time, and perhaps that is why they are done well. You walk toward the edge of the village. There, the reeds become thick. A narrow path leads into them. Sabu warns you not to go too far. The reeds can become confusing. You follow only a short distance. The world changes immediately. The village disappears. The river becomes hidden. Tall green stems rise around you. The wind moves through them. Whispering. Rustling. Hushing. It sounds almost like voices, but there are no voices. Only the reeds. You stop. A bird flies from one side of the path to the other. You hear water moving nearby. You take a slow breath. The air smells of green plants and wet earth. Then you turn back. The village appears again. A few rooftops. A palm tree. A fishing boat. A column of smoke rising into the afternoon sky. You realize how easy it would be to lose yourself in the reeds. But the villagers know these paths. They have walked them all their lives. The landscape that seems mysterious to a traveler is ordinary to those who live here. You return to the river. The sun is beginning to lower. The fishing boats prepare for evening. Sabu checks his net. A child carries a basket. Someone lights a small cooking fire. The village slowly changes from work to rest. You return to your boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. His bell sounds. You touch his neck. The warmth of his body is comforting. The crew prepares the boat for the evening. But Hori decides to remain here tonight. There is no need to travel. The river is peaceful. The village is quiet. So the boat remains tied to the shore. You sit at the bow. The sunset begins. The western sky becomes orange. The reeds turn golden. The water reflects the light. The village houses glow softly. One by one, Lamps appear, a small flame beside a doorway. Another inside a courtyard. Another near the fishing boats. The sky becomes purple. The first stars appear. The river becomes dark silver. You eat dinner aboard the boat. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. The village sounds are softer now. Children have gone inside. The fishermen are finished. The gardens are still. The reeds move gently in the night breeze. Stush. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks slightly. You can smell the river. You can hear the reeds. You can feel the cool night air. Your thoughts begin to slow. You think about the village, the fisherman. The gardener, the baker. The children, the old man repairing his paddle. None of them will become famous. Their names may never appear in great histories, but their lives are part of the story of the Nile. Every loaf of bread, every fishing net. Every garden, every boat. Every small home, every child growing beside the water. Together, these things create a civilization. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly. One ordinary day after another. The stars are brighter now. The village is asleep. The reeds move in the breeze. A night bird calls once, then silence. You breathe slowly. In and out. The boat moves gently. Back and forth. Back and forth. You do not need to follow the river tonight. You only need to rest beside it. Tomorrow, the journey will continue toward the far southern reaches of the ancient Nile. The river will carry you toward lands where the desert becomes more dramatic, where great rocks rise from the water, and where Egypt's southern frontier begins to feel very close. But tonight, stay here, beside the quiet reeds, beside the sleeping village, beside the ancient river. Listen, shush. The Nile flows. The reeds whisper. The lamps grow dim. And slowly, peacefully, the whole village disappears into sleep. Morning comes softly to the quiet village. The reeds are still wet with dew. The fishing boats rest beside the shore. A few birds move through the tall green stems. The Nile glows beneath the first light of day. You wake to the gentle rocking of the boat. Sha. For a moment, you listen to the familiar sound. The river has become almost like a lullaby. You step onto the deck. Cloud is waiting beside the shore. His blue cloth moves gently in the morning breeze. Clink. The little bell sounds. Hori is already looking toward the south. Today, he tells you the river will change. The water will no longer be as smooth and quiet. Ahead lies one of the great cataracts of the southern Nile. A place of rocks, islands, small channels, and powerful water. You finish breakfast. Bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. The boat leaves the village. The reeds slowly disappear behind you. The river widens, then narrows. The desert hills rise higher. Large dark rocks begin appearing in the water. At first there are only a few, then dozens. Some are small. Others are enormous. They rise from the Nile like islands. Palm trees grow upon several of them. A few have small patches of green soil. The boat slows. The crew lowers the sail. Now they use poles and paddles. The current is stronger here. Water moves around the rocks. It swirls. It turns. It rushes through narrow passages. The Nile is no longer a smooth road. It has become a rocky path. Hori watches carefully. He knows the river. He points toward a narrow channel that way. The crew works together. One man pushes with a long pole. Another guides the stern. A third watches the water ahead. The boat moves slowly between the rocks. You remain quiet. The sound of water is louder now to rush, slow, then calm again. The desert rises on both sides, golden cliffs, dark rocks, green palms, blue sky. The landscape is beautiful, but it demands attention. You understand why experienced boatmen are respected here. A river can be peaceful, but it can also be powerful. The boat passes between two large rocks. The water becomes faster. For a moment, the hull tilts slightly. Then the crew corrects the course. The boat settles. Hori smiles, easy. You breathe out. Ahead, the river opens into a wider pool. A flock of birds flies overhead. The sound of their wings is almost lost beneath the river. The boat continues. The cataract is not a single waterfall. It is a region of rocks and rapids. The river spreads around islands and stones. Travelers must know which channels are safe. Some routes can be crossed by boats. Others require travelers to walk along the shore and move their boats by land. The Southern Nile has its own rules. You watch a group of local boatmen farther ahead. They know every bend, every rock, every shallow place. They speak to one another quietly. No one panics. They simply work. The river is part of their life. By late morning, you reach a small island. The boat is brought close to shore. You step onto the rocks. The island is warm beneath your feet. A few palms grow near the water. Their shadows are long and narrow. There is a small settlement here, only a handful of houses, a few fishermen. Some gardens dot a storage shelter. An old man sits beneath a palm tree repairing a fishing net. He greets you. His name is Mary. He tells you that his family has lived among these islands for generations. He knows the river's moods. He can tell when the water is rising, when the current is changing, when a storm is approaching. He looks toward the cataract. You must listen to the river. You ask what he means. He smiles. Water tells you what it will do. You look at the river. At first, it seems impossible. But after a while, you begin to notice small differences. Where the water becomes darker. Where the surface trembles. Where the current bends. Where the rocks interrupt the flow. The river does speak, just not with words. Mary shows you a small garden. There are onions, beans, a few fruit trees. The soil is dark near the irrigation channel. The garden is surprisingly green. Beyond it is only rock and desert. Again, the Nile creates life in a difficult place. You sit beneath a palm tree. The afternoon sun is becoming strong. Mary offers you dates. You eat them slowly. The breeze is warm. The river continues moving. She rush. The sound is different here, more energetic, yet somehow still peaceful. After resting, you return to the boat. The crew prepares for the next part of the journey. The boat moves carefully around the island. You pass between narrow channels. The water rushes beside you. Large rocks appear suddenly. The boatmen guide the vessel with practiced movements. You watch them. There is something almost graceful about their work. They do not fight the river. They cooperate with it. They understand its movement. They allow the current to help when possible, and resist only when necessary. Perhaps that is another lesson of the Nile. Not everything must be controlled. Sometimes the wiser choice is to understand the direction of the water. By late afternoon, the river becomes calmer. The rocks are fewer. The boat moves into a sheltered bay. There are palm trees along the shore. A small village stands nearby. Hori decides to stop for the night. The ropes are tied. The crew relaxes. Cloud is brought ashore. He walks slowly beneath the palms. Clink, clink. His bell sounds with every step. You follow him. The sunset is beginning. The western sky turns gold. The rocks become dark silhouettes. The river reflects the sky. The cataract, which seemed powerful during the day, becomes almost gentle in the evening. The water still moves quickly. But the sunlight softens everything. You sit beside the shore. A fisherman pulls his boat onto the sand. Two children gather firewood. An old woman carries a clay jar. Someone lights a small fire. Smoke rises slowly. The smell of cooking food fills the air. Dinner is shared. Bread, fish, vegetables, dates. Water. You eat beneath the palm trees. The desert is quiet. The river is loud enough to be heard to rush. Above you, the first stars appear. The rocks become black shapes against the darkening sky. You look back toward the cataract. You can still hear it. The ancient river moving over stone. Thousands of years ago, travelers heard the same sound. Merchants, soldiers, farmers, me and families. Perhaps they stood beneath the same stars. Perhaps they watched the same moon rise above the rocks. The thought makes the night feel very deep. History is not always found in great monuments. Sometimes it is simply the repetition of a sound, water against stone. Year after year, century after century. Generation after generation. You return to the boat. Cloud settles beside the shore. The crew prepares the sleeping area. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks gently. But now the sound of the cataract joins the river. Rush. Your breathing slows. The powerful water becomes almost musical. The desert cools. The palms move gently in the night breeze. You close your eyes. You imagine the river flowing through the darkness. Around rocks. Between islands. Past villages. Past temples. Past fields. Always moving south. Always moving onward. Tomorrow, the journey will continue beyond the cataract. The land ahead will be different. The river will enter a region of warm islands and golden hills. You will meet people whose lives are closely connected to the southern waters. But there is no need to think about tomorrow now. Tonight, rest beside the cataract. Listen to the ancient water. Let it wash away the thoughts of the day. She rush. The Nile continues beneath the stars. The rocks remain still. The palms whisper. The village sleeps. And the river carries its ancient song into the night. Rest now. There is nowhere you need to hurry. The river knows the way. Morning arrives beside the cataract. The night has been cool. The stars have faded slowly from the sky, and the river continues moving between the dark rocks. You wake to a softer sound than before. The water is calmer now. The great cataract lies behind you. Ahead, the Nile opens again. The southern islands are waiting. You step onto the deck. Cloud stands near the shore. His blue cloth catches the morning breeze. Clink. His little bell sounds once. The first sunlight touches the rocks. They turn from gray to gold. Hori is already preparing the boat. Today, he tells you, you will pass through a region of many islands. Some are covered with palms. Some are little more than rocky outcrops. Some hold gardens and small villages. The Nile divides around them and then joins together again. It is as though the river is making its own paths through the desert. Breakfast is prepared. Bread, dates, figs, honey, water. You eat slowly. Then the ropes are released. The boat moves into the current. The sail rises. A gentle wind carries you onward. The cataract becomes smaller behind you. The rocks disappear. The river becomes smoother. You relax. The southern landscape is beautiful. The desert is warmer in color. The hills glow golden beneath the morning sun. The river is deep blue-green. Palm trees stand in clusters along the banks. Between them are small patches of cultivated land. The islands appear one after another. The first is small. Only a few palms. A fisherman sits beneath them. He waves as you pass. The next island is larger. A small village rests near its center. Mud brick homes. A few gardens. Goats. Fishing boats. Children playing beside the water. The boat continues. Another island appears. This one is covered with date palms. The leaves move gently in the wind. The trees make a soft rustling sound. Hush. Boldosh. You begin to notice how different the river sounds between the islands. In one channel, the water is quiet. In another, it moves quickly. Near the rocks, it whispers. Near the sandbanks, it barely makes a sound. The river has many voices. You listen. By late morning, the boat approaches a larger island. Hori decides to stop. A wooden landing extends into the water. You step ashore. The island is warm. The sand is golden. Palm trees provide shade. A narrow path leads toward the village. You follow it. A woman is gathering dates. She places them carefully into a basket. Her name is Nefret. She smiles when you greet her. She offers you a date. You accept. The fruit is sweet. She laughs. You like them. You nod. She explains that the date harvest is important to the island. Families collect the fruit. Some is eaten fresh. Some is dried. Some is traded. Some is stored for later. Nothing is wasted. You walk beneath the palms. The shade is wonderful. The sun is strong, but beneath the trees the air is cool. The island feels peaceful. You notice a small house with woven mats hanging outside. A man sits beneath an awning. He is making baskets from palm leaves. His hands move quickly. Fold. Twist. Pull. Fold. Twist. Pull. He introduces himself as Beckham. He has been making baskets since childhood. He shows you a finished basket. It is beautifully woven, strong enough to carry grain, light enough to carry easily. He explains that palm leaves can be used for many things. Baskets, mats, rope, roof coverings, simple toys, even small decorations. Again, you see how much people can make from the plants around them. The river provides water. The palms provide shade. The leaves provide materials. The dates provide food. The land provides gardens. The island provides a home. Everything is connected. You sit beneath the awning. Beckham continues weaving. The sound is gentle. The leaves make a soft whisper as they move through his fingers. You watch for a while. There is something calming about repetitive work. Nothing dramatic happens. The basket simply grows. Row by row, pattern by pattern, Until something useful appears, you thank him. Then continue toward the river. Near the shore, children are playing with small wooden boats. One child has painted a tiny sail. Another has made a boat from reeds. They place them in the water. The little vessels drift away. The children run along the bank, laughing. The scene reminds you of the larger journey. The real boats travel farther. They carry grain. Stone. People. Messages. The small boats carry only dreams. But perhaps every great journey begins with something small. By midday, the heat becomes stronger. You return to the shade. Lunch is shared with the villagers. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. Water. The meal is simple. The conversation is gentle. People speak about the river. The weather. The harvest. Boats. Family. Nothing extraordinary. And yet you find yourself enjoying it. Perhaps peaceful stories are made from ordinary conversations. After lunch, the village becomes quiet. The children disappear into the houses. The fishermen rest. The basket maker continues his work beneath the shade. You sit beside the river. The water is bright beneath the afternoon sun. A small boat passes, then another. The distant shore looks golden. You watch the clouds. They move slowly across the sky. You feel sleepy. The heat is comforting. The breeze is warm. The river is steady. You close your eyes. For a few minutes, you drift into a light sleep. When you wake, the sun has begun to lower. The light is softer. The palm trees cast long shadows. The villagers begin their evening work. Fishermen prepare their nets. Children return to the shore. Women gather vegetables. Someone lights a small cooking fire. Smoke rises into the golden air. You return to the boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. His bell sounds. You touch his neck. The boat is prepared for departure. You say goodbye to the villagers. Nefert waves from beneath the palms. Beckham lifts his hand from his basket. The children wave their little wooden boats. Then you push away from the island. The river carries you onward. The island slowly becomes smaller. The palms become dark silhouettes. The houses disappear. Soon there is only a green line against the golden shore. Then even that fades. The evening sky is beautiful. Gold. Orange. Rose. Purple. The river reflects every color. The boat moves quietly. There is almost no wind. The sail hangs loosely. The current does most of the work. You sit at the bow. The desert hills are glowing. The islands look peaceful. Somewhere in the distance, a bird calls. Then silence. Dinner is prepared. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. You eat beneath the evening sky. Cloud rests nearby. The crew speaks quietly. The river moves around the boat. Shh. Night arrives. The first stars appear, then hundreds. Then thousands. The islands become dark shapes. Palm leaves move gently against the stars. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks. Back and forth, back and forth. You think about the golden islands. The quiet gardens. The basket maker. The date palms. The children and their little boats. Life here is simple. But it is not empty. There is work. There is family. There is food. There is water. There is shade. There are stories. And there is the river. The river gives them a connection to the larger world. Boats arrive from distant places. Goods travel north. News travels south. People come and go. Yet the island remains peaceful. Perhaps that is the beauty of the Nile. It connects the world without asking people to leave their homes. You close your eyes. The sound of water becomes softer. The palms seem to whisper in your memory. Hush. 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 The golden islands rest beneath the stars. The villagers sleep. The fishermen dream. The baskets wait beneath the awnings. The date palms stand quietly beside the river, and the Nile continues moving through the southern night. Tomorrow, the journey will continue toward a place where the river meets broader stretches of desert and where ancient travelers once looked south toward lands beyond Egypt. But tonight, there is nothing to discover, nothing to solve, nothing to hurry toward, only the river, only the stars, only the gentle rocking of the boat. Breathe slowly. Let your shoulders relax. Let your thoughts become quiet. The ancient Nile knows the way, and it will carry you onward when morning comes. For now, rest. Morning comes quietly over the southern Nile. The golden islands are behind you now. Their palm trees have disappeared into the distance. Only the open river remains. You wake beneath the woven shelter to the soft movement of water. Sheathe, the boat drifts gently beneath the pale morning sky. For a few moments, you remain still. The air is cool. The deck feels warm beneath your hand. Somewhere nearby, a bird calls from the riverbank, then another answers. Cloud is already awake. He stands beside the bow, looking toward the south. Clink, his little bell moves in the breeze. Hori is watching the horizon. Today, he tells you, the land will begin to feel different. The river is approaching the southern borderlands. Beyond them lie lands that ancient Egyptians knew through trade, travel, and stories. The river will remain your guide, but the green valley will become narrower. The desert will seem closer, and the feeling of the journey will change. Breakfast is simple. Bread, dates, figs, honey, water. You eat slowly, then the sail rises. The morning breeze catches it. The boat begins to move. The islands gradually disappear. The river widens, then narrows again between rocky hills. The banks become quieter. There are fewer gardens now, fewer houses, fewer fields. The desert dominates the landscape. Golden sand stretches toward the horizon. Here and there, dark rocks rise from the earth. A few palms stand beside the water. They seem almost precious in such a dry world. You understand how important the Nile is. Without it, there would be no green valley. No farms. No villages. No gardens. Only stone and sand. The boat travels onward. Near midday, you notice smoke rising from the western bank. Hori points toward it, a small settlement, not a village of farmers. A resting place for travelers. The boat approaches. You step ashore. Several people are gathered beneath a shaded shelter. Some are merchants, others are boatmen. A few are preparing animals for a journey across the desert. You meet a traveler named Terif. He has come from farther south. His clothing is different from that of the villagers you have met along the river. He carries a small leather water container. Beside him rests a bundle of goods. He smiles. You are traveling south. You nod. Then you will see many new things. He points toward the desert. There are faint tracks in the sand. A caravan route. Camels and donkeys have passed this way. The river and desert routes meet here. Goods can travel by boat along the Nile, then be carried across the desert. Then return to the river farther south. The ancient world is connected by many roads. Some are made of water, some are made of sand. You sit beneath the shelter. Tariff tells you about the desert journey. The most important thing is water. Travelers carry it carefully. They know where wells can be found. They know where shade exists. They know which routes are safe. A journey across the desert is never taken casually. The desert demands patience. The same lesson you have heard from the river. You ask what he carries. He opens one of his bundles. Inside are small pieces of colored stone. Others contain beads, a little metal, some cloth. Things from distant lands. They have traveled far. Perhaps farther than you have. You touch one small bead. It is blue. Tariff explains that it came through trade. You look at it for a moment. Such a tiny object, yet it has crossed mountains. Deserts. Rivers. Villages. Cities. Many hands have touched it. You realize that objects can carry journeys within them. A bead, a bowl, a piece of cloth, a stone, a wooden carving. Each may have traveled farther than the person who owns it. You thank Tariff. Then return to the boat. The afternoon is growing hot. The crew decides to rest beneath the shade for a while. The boat remains tied to the shore. You sit at the water's edge. The river is cool. You dip your fingers into it. The current moves gently around your hand. For thousands of years, people have done this, touched the Nile. Drank from it, washed in it, fished from it, traveled upon it. Built beside it. The water you see today is part of a story much older than any one person. You sit quietly. The desert wind blows behind you. It is dry and warm. The river breeze is cooler. Where they meet, the air becomes gentle. You close your eyes. The contrast is soothing. Desert. River. Heat. Water. Silence. Life. After some time, the crew prepares to continue. The sail rises again. The boat moves south. The settlement disappears. The desert returns. For several hours, almost nothing changes. The river. The sand. The rocks. The sky. Yet the journey does not feel empty. There is something peaceful about traveling through a landscape where so little moves. You watch a hawk circling above the cliffs. Its wings remain almost still. It rides the warm air. Far below, a lone palm tree stands beside the river. Its reflection stretches across the water. You pass it slowly, then another appears, then another. Small signs of life. At sunset, the landscape becomes beautiful. The desert turns orange. The rocks become purple. The river becomes gold. The sky seems enormous. The boat moves silently through the evening. No villages nearby. No market. No temple. Only the open land. Hori lowers the sail. The boat drifts with the current. You sit at the bow. Cloud rests nearby. Clink. The little bell sounds softly. You watch the sun disappear. One final ray touches the distant cliffs, then darkness begins. The crew prepares dinner. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. Water. You eat beneath a sky filled with stars. Without city lights, the stars seem brighter, thousands upon thousands. Some appear close, others seem impossibly distant. The Milky Way stretches across the sky. You lie back, you think about the journey. You began beside the green fields of northern Egypt. You traveled past villages. Temples. Gardens. Quarries. Cities. Islands. Cataracts. And now the river has brought you to the borderlands. The world feels larger here. The Green Valley is only a narrow ribbon. The desert surrounds it. Beyond the horizon are lands you have not yet seen, but you do not need to see everything. A journey is not about reaching every place. Sometimes it is enough to move slowly, to notice what lies beside the road. To listen. To rest. The night grows quieter. The fire beside the boat becomes smaller. The crew settles down. Cloud lies beneath the stars. His bell is still. The river moves, Shicha. You close your eyes. The desert is silent. The Nile is not. It continues flowing south. It has flowed through darkness before. It will flow through darkness again. You breathe slowly. In and out. The warm night air rests upon your face. Your body becomes heavy. The sound of water becomes softer. You imagine the river as a long silver road beneath the moon. Ahead are new villages, new islands, new travelers, new stories. But tonight, none of them matter. The road can wait, the morning can wait. The desert can wait. For now, you are beside the Nile. The stars are above you. The river is beneath you. And the ancient borderland is sleeping. Rest. Let the river carry you through the night. Tomorrow, the journey will continue farther south, toward the lands beyond the familiar valley. And slowly, another chapter of the ancient world will open, but tonight, the Nile is enough. Dawn comes quietly to the southern borderland. The desert is cool. The rocks are pale beneath the first light. The Nile moves steadily beside the sleeping land. You wake beneath the woven shelter. For a moment, you hear nothing except water. Then comes the soft sound of footsteps. The crew is preparing the boat. Cloud stands near the bow. His blue cloth catches the breeze. Clink. The little bell sounds. Hori looks toward the horizon. There, he says. You follow his gaze. Far in the distance, beyond the river and the golden hills, lies the southern frontier. The familiar lands of the Nile Valley are beginning to give way to a world of broader deserts. Rocky islands and distant trade routes. You have traveled a long way, but the river continues. As always, breakfast is prepared. Bread, dates, figs, honey. Water. You eat slowly, then the sail rises. The boat moves south. The morning is peaceful. The river is wide. There are fewer settlements now. Instead, small watch stations appear along the banks. Simple stone buildings. Mud brick shelters. Places where travelers can stop. Places where boats can rest. The frontier is not a single wall. It is a landscape. A place where different worlds meet. You pass a small settlement. Several people stand near the river. They wave as the boat moves past. A fisherman pulls in his net. A woman carries a water jar. 2 children sit beneath a palm. An old man watches the river. Ordinary life continues. Even at the edge of a great kingdom, you begin to wonder about the people who traveled beyond this place. Merchants. Explorers. Soldiers. Messengers. They would have looked toward the south with the same curiosity. What lies beyond the next bend? What lies beyond the next mountain? What lies beyond the desert? The river would have been their guide. You continue. The landscape becomes increasingly rocky. Large boulders rest beside the water. Some are smooth from ancient floods. Others are dark and sharp. The boat moves carefully. The crew watches the current. There are fewer places to stop. They would have looked toward the south with the same curiosity. What lies beyond the next bend? What lies beyond the next mountain? What lies beyond the desert? The river would have been their guide. You continue. The landscape becomes increasingly rocky. Large boulders rest beside the water. Some are smooth from ancient floods. Others are dark and sharp. The boat moves carefully. The crew watches the current. There are fewer places to stop. The river feels more isolated. Yet the isolation is peaceful. You sit near the bow. A warm wind moves across the water. The desert smells dry and clean. Above, a hawk circles. Below, fish move beneath the surface. The world seems balanced. Water. Stone. Sky. Sand. Around midday, you see a small cluster of houses. The boat approaches. A man waits beside the shore. He introduces himself as Nesu. He works as a guide for travelers. He knows the river and the desert paths. You sit with him beneath a shelter. He tells you that travelers often rest here before continuing south. The journey beyond the frontier can be long. Water must be carried. Animals must be prepared. Goods must be packed carefully. The desert does not forgive carelessness. Nesu points toward the horizon. You can travel far if you respect the land. You like the simplicity of the words. Respect the land. Respect the river. Respect the desert. Respect the journey. He shows you several water jars. Each is sealed carefully. Water is precious. You think about the villages farther north where the Nile seemed abundant. Here, every jar feels important. You drink a little. The water is cool. You thank him. Before leaving, Nesu gives you a small piece of dried fruit. For the road. You smile, then you return to the boat. The afternoon passes slowly. The river carries you between golden cliffs. Sometimes the water is bright blue, sometimes green. Sometimes almost silver. The sunlight changes everything. You begin to notice small details. A bird sitting on a rock. A palm tree growing from almost nothing. A lizard crossing the sand. A fishing net drying beside a house. A tiny garden beside the river. The desert may seem empty, but when you look closely, it is full of small lives. The boat continues. Toward evening, the river opens into a wide stretch. The crew raises the sail again. The wind is gentle. The boat moves easily. You sit at the front. Cloud rests nearby. Clink, the little bell sounds every time he moves his head. The sun begins to fall. The cliffs turn golden. Then red. Then purple. The river reflects the colors. It looks like a road of fire beneath the evening sky. You watch quietly. There is something beautiful about reaching a frontier. Not because the journey ends, but because the world feels larger. Behind you are all the places you have seen. Ahead are places you have not. And between them is the river. The river does not ask you to choose. It simply continues. The boat continues too. Night arrives. The crew prepares dinner. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. You eat beneath the stars. The air is cooler now. The desert becomes silent. A distant fire burns beside the shore. Perhaps another group of travelers is resting there. Perhaps they too are preparing for tomorrow. You imagine a caravan somewhere beyond the hills, camels moving slowly through the darkness, their footsteps pressing into the sand. The people walking beside them, the moon above. The same stars above you. Different road, same sky. The thought makes the world feel connected. You lie beneath the shelter. The boat rocks gently. The river makes its familiar sound. You close your eyes. The southern frontier becomes quiet. The watch stations sleep. The fishermen rest. The travelers settle beside their fires. The desert cools beneath the moon. The Nile continues flowing. You think about how far you have come. At the beginning of the journey, the river seemed like a simple road. Now you understand that it is much more. It is a source of food, a path for boats. A boundary, a meeting place, a connection between distant communities, a source of stories, a reason for people to build homes, a reason for gardens to exist in the desert. The river does not simply pass through Egypt. It shapes Egypt, and now it has carried you to its southern edge. Your breathing becomes slower. The boat moves. Back and forth, the stars remain above. The river remains below. Tomorrow, the journey will continue beyond the frontier. You will begin to encounter new landscapes and new communities shaped by the southern Nile. But tonight, there is nothing more to see, nothing more to learn. You have traveled enough. Let the river carry the day away. Let the desert become quiet. Let the stars become soft. She. Rest now. The southern frontier sleeps beneath the moon. The ancient river continues south, and the journey waits patiently for morning. Morning rises over the southern frontier. The first light touches the rocky hills. The Nile glows softly between them. The desert is cool for a little while before the sun begins its long climb. You wake beneath the woven shelter. The boat is quiet. The crew moves carefully across the deck. Cloud is standing near the bow clink. His little bell sounds in the morning breeze. Hori tells you that today you will stop at a small market beside the river. It is not a great city, not a royal market. Just a meeting place where travelers, fishermen, farmers, and merchants come together. You finish breakfast. Bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. The sail rises. The boat moves gently south. For several hours, the landscape remains quiet. Rocky hills, golden sand, green river, occasional palms. Then, near the bend of the river, you see something unexpected. Trees. Acacia trees. Their branches spread wide above the riverbank. Beneath them are small stalls. Colored cloth hangs from wooden poles. Baskets are arranged on woven mats. Clay jars sit in neat rows. Boats are tied along the shore, the market. Even from the water, you can hear voices, not loud, not hurried. Just the gentle sound of many people speaking at once. The boat approaches the landing. Hori ties the rope. You step ashore. The ground beneath your feet is warm. A narrow path leads beneath the acacia trees. The shade is cool. The market is already busy. A fisherman sells fresh fish. A farmer has brought onions and vegetables. A basket maker displays woven containers. A woman sells dates. A merchant has beads. Another has cloth. There are small carved objects. Clay cups, oil jars, wooden tools, simple sandals. Nothing is arranged extravagantly. Everything is practical. Everything has a purpose. You walk slowly through the market. A merchant smiles. He holds out a small string of beads. Blue, white, brown, green. The beads catch the sunlight. You ask where they came from. He points south. far away. Then he points north, farther away. He laughs. Perhaps he does not know the exact path. Perhaps no one does. Goods travel through many hands. A bead changes owners. A basket changes hands. A piece of cloth travels from one village to another. The market is a place where journeys meet. You continue walking. A woman is selling fresh bread. The smell fills the air. You buy a small piece. It is warm, soft. You sit beneath an acacia tree and eat. The river is visible beyond the stalls. Boats arrive. People unload goods. Others carry baskets away. A donkey stands patiently beside a cart. A child tries to make it move. The donkey refuses. The child pulls harder. The donkey remains still. Several people laugh. The child gives up. The donkey looks pleased. You smile. Even in ancient markets, some things never change. Nearby, a group of travelers is preparing to leave. They carry bundles. Water jars, food, tools. One man checks a rope. Another counts animals. A woman adjusts a basket. They are preparing for the desert. The market is their last place to gather supplies. You watch them carefully. Travel requires preparation. Water, food. Direction, patience. The same things have guided your journey. Only your road is easier. You have the river beneath you. The travelers must cross the sand. A little later, you meet a merchant named Heka. He sells small pieces of carved stone. He explains that some are used for decoration. Others are made into simple household objects. One small piece is shaped like a scarab. You hold it in your palm. It is smooth, warm. Heka tells you that travelers often buy small objects as gifts. Something small enough to carry. Something that remembers a place. You think about the journey. How many small objects must have traveled along the Nile? A bracelet, a bead, a carved bird, a painted bowl, a wooden boat, a little stone figure. Each one carrying a piece of someone's life. You return the scarab. You thank Heka. The market continues around you. A fisherman calls to a customer. A child laughs. Someone pours water from a clay jar. A basket is placed onto a donkey. Two merchants discuss a price. A woman counts dates. The sounds overlap, yet somehow the market remains peaceful. Perhaps because no one is in a great hurry. The river teaches patience. So does the desert. By midday, the sun is high. The acacia trees provide welcome shade. The market becomes quieter. Many people rest beneath the trees. You sit near the river. The water moves slowly. A boat passes. The people aboard wave. You wave back. Then you notice something. A young boy is sitting beside the shore. He is carving a small wooden boat. You walk over. He looks up. His name is Teddy. He shows you the little vessel. It is not finished. The hull is rough. The mast is crooked, but the shape is clear. A boat. You ask if he will make a sail. He nods. He wants it to float. He places the boat in the water. It tips to one side. He adjusts it. He tries again. This time, it floats. The boy smiles. The tiny boat moves away from the shore. The current carries it slowly. You watch together. The little boat travels a few meters. Then catches against a reed. Teddy laughs. He retrieves it. Perhaps one day he will build larger boats. Perhaps he will become a craftsman. Or perhaps he will become a fisherman. Or a farmer. Or a merchant. No one knows. But today, He has built a boat. And for today, that is enough. The afternoon begins. The market slowly closes. Stalls are packed. Baskets are tied. Unsold vegetables are carried home. The travelers prepare to leave. The fishermen return to their boats. The acacia trees become quieter. You return to your boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. You touch his neck. The crew prepares the ropes. You look back toward the market. The acacia trees stand above the emptying stalls. Soon the place will be quiet. Tomorrow, another market will come. Another group of travelers will arrive. Another fisherman will sell his catch. Another child will carry a basket. The market will return to life. You push away from the shore. The boat moves into the current. The market becomes smaller. The acacia trees turn dark against the golden landscape. Soon they disappear. The river carries you onward. The afternoon is warm. The desert shines. The boat moves slowly. You sit near the bow. There is little wind. The crew allows the current to carry you. You watch the river. A bird flies close to the surface. Its reflection follows beneath it. Then it rises. The water becomes still again. As evening arrives, the sky turns gold. The desert hills glow. The river reflects the light. You remember the market. The beads. The baskets. The bread. The fish. The little wooden boat. The people preparing for journeys. Everyone is traveling in some way. Some by river. Some by road. Some by desert. Some simply through life. The boat continues south. Dinner is prepared. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. Water. You eat quietly beneath the evening sky. Cloud lies nearby. The little bell is still. The first stars appear. One. Then two. Then many. The river becomes silver. The desert becomes dark. The market is far behind. You lie down. The boat rocks gently. You close your eyes. You imagine the acacia trees beneath the moon, the market empty, the stalls packed away, the little wooden boat resting beside the boys' home, the travelers sleeping beside their caravan, the fishermen dreaming beside their nets, the river flowing past them all. The night is quiet. You breathe slowly. In. And out. The journey can continue tomorrow. Tonight, there is no need to travel. No need to think about the road ahead. Let the river hold you. Let the gentle rocking of the boat become a rhythm. Back and forth, shidashi. Tomorrow, the Nile will carry you farther into the southern lands. The desert will open wider. The river will lead toward ancient communities connected by trade, water, and long journeys. But tonight, beneath the stars, the market sleeps beneath its acacia trees. The river flows. The desert rests, and your little boat waits quietly for morning. Rest now. The journey continues when the sun returns. Morning arrives with a soft golden light. The market beneath the acacia trees is already far behind. During the night, the boat continued south, carried by the quiet current. Now the landscape has changed again. Large rocks rise from the Nile. Palm trees gather along the banks. The desert hills stand farther away. And ahead, you can see a long island resting in the middle of the river. Hori points toward it. Elephant Island. You have reached one of the great settlements of the southern Nile. The name sounds mysterious, but the island itself is peaceful. Green gardens stretch between the palms. Mud brick houses sit close together. Small boats move along the shore. And beyond everything, the desert rises in golden hills. You wake beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks gently. She. Cloud is standing near the bow. Clink. His bell sounds softly. Breakfast is waiting. Bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. You eat while watching the island. As the sun rises higher, the details become clearer. Stone walls, palm trees, gardens, boats, people walking beside the water. The island seems almost like a green ship floating upon the Nile. The boat approaches a small landing. The crew ties the rope. You step ashore. The island is warm beneath your feet. A narrow street leads between mud brick houses. You hear voices. A donkey brays. Someone opens a wooden door. A child runs past carrying a small basket. The island is waking. You follow the path toward the center. There are gardens everywhere. Date palms. Fig trees. Vegetables. Small pools. The people have learned to use every fertile space. The desert is close, but inside the island, everything is green. A gardener named Potty welcomes you. He is watering a small patch of vegetables. He explains that the island depends on the river. Every garden needs water. Every house needs water. Every boat needs water. The river is never far away. You look beyond the garden. The Nile flows on both sides. It surrounds the island completely. Potty smiles. Here, the river is our road. You have heard this before. But each place gives the words a different meaning. On this island, the river is everywhere. You walk toward the water. Several boats are tied beside the shore. Some are fishing boats. Others carry goods. A larger boat is being loaded with jars. Men carry baskets from the shore. A woman checks a bundle of cloth. A young boy watches everything carefully. Perhaps he is learning. Perhaps one day he will work on the river too. You continue along the harbor. An old boatman is repairing a wooden paddle. His name is Mena. He has traveled along the river for many years. He tells you that the river is different in every season. Sometimes it is calm. Sometimes strong, sometimes high, sometimes low. But it is always changing. That is why you must watch it. He places the paddle across his knees. Never assume tomorrow will look exactly like today. You like the thought. The river is ancient, but it is never exactly the same. You walk farther. A small temple appears beyond the houses. Its walls are made from stone. The entrance is simple. People enter quietly. Inside, the air is cool. The walls contain carvings of gods, kings, boats, and offerings. The temple is smaller than the great temples you have visited, yet it feels intimate. People come here for ordinary reasons. To pray. To give thanks. To ask for protection. To remember someone. You sit beneath a shaded wall. A priest walks past carrying a small offering. He pauses, then continues. Nothing dramatic happens. The temple simply exists as part of the village. A quiet place within daily life. When you leave, the sun is already high. The streets are brighter. The market has opened. People sell vegetables. Fish. Bread. Dates. Pottery. Cloth. Small carved objects. The market is lively but peaceful. You stop at a stall selling pottery. The bowls are simple. Some are plain, others have painted designs. A woman named Torrid explains that many are made locally. She picks up a small bowl. This one is for everyday use. Then another. This one is for special meals. You admire the difference. One is ordinary, one is beautiful. Yet both began as clay.water.earth.hands.fire.time. You realize how much ancient life depends on simple materials. Stone.wood, clay.fiber.metal, water. People take what the land provides and turn it into useful things. You thank Torrit, then continue. Near the edge of the market, you find a shaded courtyard. Several people are sitting there. A storyteller is speaking. His audience listens quietly. You sit among them. He tells a story about a traveler who follows the river too far and becomes lost. The audience laughs at the foolish traveler. Then the storyteller becomes serious. He explains that the river can guide you, but you must still pay attention. A road can lead somewhere, but you must choose where to go. The story ends. The listeners smile. Some children repeat their favorite part. You realize that stories are another kind of river. They travel from one person to another, from one generation to another. They change slightly, but they continue. Perhaps thousands of years from now, someone will still tell a story beneath a tree. The setting may be different. The language may be different. But the desire to tell stories will remain. By afternoon, the heat becomes strong. The market becomes quieter. You return to the river. A cool breeze has begun. You sit beneath a palm. The water moves on both sides of the island. You watch a fisherman cast his net. The net opens in the air. For a moment, it looks like a circle of silver. Then it lands softly upon the water. The fisherman waits, then pulls. A few fish flash in the sunlight. He smiles. His work is done. You remain beneath the palm for a while. The heat makes you sleepy. Your eyes close. The sound of the river becomes distant. The palm leaves move above you. Hush, hush. You drift into a short afternoon sleep. When you wake, the sunlight has softened. The island is beginning to glow. The gardens are golden. The houses are warm in the evening light. The river reflects the sky. You return to the boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. His little bell sounds. You touch his neck. The crew prepares to leave. As the boat pushes away, you look back. The island is beautiful in the evening. Palm trees. Gardens. Stone walls. Small houses. Boats. People walking home. The desert beyond. The Nile around everything. Slowly, the island becomes smaller. The temple disappears behind the palms. The market becomes quiet. The harbor fades. Soon only the silhouette remains. Then nothing. The boat continues south. The evening sky turns deep orange. The desert hills become purple. The river becomes silver. You sit at the bow. There is little wind. The boat moves slowly, almost silently. Dinner is prepared. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. Water. You eat beneath the first stars. Cloud lies nearby. The crew speaks quietly. Then everyone becomes still. The night deepens. You look back toward the island. It is no longer visible. But you remember it. The gardens. The temple. The market. The storyteller. The fisherman. The old boatman. The quiet river surrounding everything. The island was not grand, but it was alive. And perhaps that is what makes it memorable. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks gently. Sheesh. You breathe slowly. The Nile continues south. Ahead are more islands. More villages. More desert. More stories. But tonight, you have traveled enough. There is nothing you need to reach. Nothing you need to finish. Let the boat move without you. Let the river carry the journey. Let your thoughts become as quiet as the water. The stars shine above. The desert rests. The island sleeps somewhere behind you. And the Nile continues its ancient journey through the darkness. Shiaftash. Rest now. Tomorrow, another stretch of the southern river will open before you. And the journey will continue slowly and peacefully toward the farthest lands of the ancient Nile. Morning arrives beneath a pale golden sky. The island is far behind you now. During the night, the boat drifted quietly southward, following the slow current of the Nile. You wake to the familiar rhythm, shiach shiach. The river seems calmer than yesterday. The desert hills stand quietly on both sides. A few palms appear along the eastern bank. Beyond them, there is only sand and stone. You remain beneath the woven shelter for a little while. There is no reason to hurry. The morning is cool. The air is still. The boat gently rises and falls beneath you. Then you hear Cloud. Clink. His little bell. You step onto the deck. Hori is already awake. He looks toward the riverbank. Today, he says, we will visit a garden where you would least expect to find one. You look toward the desert, a garden. Here. Hori smiles. Wait and see. Breakfast is prepared. Warm bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. You eat while the sail is raised. The boat begins moving south. The morning passes peacefully. The landscape is becoming drier. The green strip beside the Nile grows narrower. There are fewer farms. Fewer houses. More rocks. More sand. Yet occasionally you see something green. A palm tree. A small patch of vegetables. A few reeds. A garden beside the water. Each seems precious. Near midday, Hori points toward a narrow opening between the hills. A small path leads away from the river. The boat approaches a quiet landing. You step ashore. There is almost nothing here. A few rocks, a low stone wall, a cluster of palms. Beyond them, the desert stretches toward the horizon. You follow Hori along the path. At first, you see only dry earth, then you notice a small channel. Water is flowing through it. Slowly, quietly. The channel turns around the rocks and disappears beneath the palms. You follow it. And suddenly, the desert opens into a garden. Green plants fill a small enclosed space. Date palms. Figs. Onions. Beans. Melons. Flowers. A few lotus plants grow in a shallow pool. The contrast is astonishing. Outside the wall is sand. Inside is green life. A gardener is working beside the pool. His name is Ketty. He smiles when he sees you. You are surprised. You nod. He laughs softly. Everyone is. Ketty explains that the garden is fed by a small irrigation channel connected to the Nile. The water is guided carefully. Every drop has a purpose. He shows you the channels. One carries water to the palms. Another feeds the vegetables. A third fills the small pool. The system is simple, but it works. You watch the water move. It is a tiny river inside the desert. Ketty closes one wooden gate. The water changes direction. He opens another. The channel fills. The plants receive their share. Nothing is wasted. You walk beneath the palm trees. The shade is cool. Birds move among the branches. A bee circles the flowers. The air smells of wet earth. You sit beside the pool. The water is perfectly still. A lotus flower floats upon the surface. Its petals are pale pink. The desert can be seen beyond the wall. Golden. Dry. Endless. Inside the garden, everything is soft. Green. Cool. Quiet. You understand why gardens were so valued in ancient Egypt. They were more than places for plants. They were places of shade, places of rest, places where people could escape the heat. A garden was a small reminder that life could flourish even beside the desert. Caddy brings you a few dates. You eat them beneath the palms. He tells you that his family has cared for this garden for many years. His father taught him. His father learned from someone before him. The knowledge travels quietly. How much water each tree needs. When to plant. When to harvest. How to protect the soil. How to keep the channels clear. None of this is written on a monument. But without this knowledge, the garden would disappear. You thank him, then you walk toward the far side. There is a small resting shelter. Inside are woven mats, a clay jar of water, a wooden stool. Keddy tells you travelers sometimes rest here. The garden is a stopping place on the southern road. You sit on the mat. The shade is wonderful. Outside, the desert wind moves softly. Inside, the air remains cool. Your eyes become heavy. You listen to the water draft. A bird calls. Then silence. You close your eyes. For a little while, you sleep. When you wake, the afternoon has begun. The sunlight is softer. Ketty is watering the plants again. You walk through the garden one last time. You notice small details you missed earlier. A tiny lizard resting on a stone. A spider web between two leaves. A date beginning to ripen. A flower opening toward the sun. A frog beneath the pool's edge. The garden is not silent. It is full of small life. You return to the river. Before leaving, you look back. The garden seems almost impossible. A little green world surrounded by desert, but perhaps that is the story of the Nile itself. A green world surrounded by desert. You step aboard the boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. The crew unties the rope. The boat moves away. The garden becomes smaller. The palms remain visible for a while, then the walls disappear. The green patch becomes a tiny mark. Soon the desert hides it completely. But you remember where it is, a quiet garden beside the southern road. The afternoon passes, the river moves steadily. The landscape becomes even more open. You see distant hills, long ridges of stone. Occasional palms, a few birds. Nothing else. The silence is enormous. Yet it is not lonely. The river is with you. The boat is with you. The sky is above you. The desert is beside you. You sit at the bow. The wind touches your face. Cloud rests nearby. Clink. His bell sounds occasionally. The sound becomes familiar, comforting. As the sun begins to set, the desert turns gold. The Nile becomes a long band of light. You watch the reflections. The boat moves quietly. No village appears. No market. No temple. Only the river. The crew prepares dinner. Bread. Fish. Vegetables. Dates. Water. You eat beneath the evening sky. The first stars appear. The desert cools quickly. The air becomes gentle. You think about the garden. How much effort it must take to keep it alive. How carefully the water must be shared. How many generations must have learned the same work, and how easily it could disappear. A blocked channel, a broken wall, a season without enough water. The garden survives because people care for it. Perhaps that is true of everything: a home, a village, a boat, a friendship, a story. They survive because someone tends them. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The boat rocks gently. Sheesh. Your eyes grow heavy. You imagine the little garden beneath the moon. The palms standing quietly. The lotus sleeping on the pool. The irrigation channel carrying water through the darkness. Beyond the walls, the desert rests. The same stars shine above both. Green life and golden sand beneath one sky. Your breathing slows. The river carries you onward. Tomorrow, the journey will continue deeper into the southern landscape. The road will become quieter. The desert will stretch farther. And the Nile will lead you toward the places where ancient travelers looked beyond Egypt itself. But tonight, there is no need to go farther. Stay with the river. Listen to the water. Remember the little garden. A small place of green in a world of sand. Shh. The garden sleeps. The desert sleeps. The boat sleeps. And the Nile continues flowing beneath the stars. Rest now. Morning will come gently. And when it does, the journey will continue. Morning arrives softly over the southern Nile. The desert is cool beneath the pale dawn. The little garden from yesterday is already far behind. You can no longer see its palms. But the river remembers the way she shoots. The boat glides south. Cloud stands beside the bow. Clink. His little bell sounds once. Hori tells you that today you will visit a place unlike the villages and markets you have seen before. A house of knowledge. Not a great palace. Not one of the enormous temples. A quieter place. A place where scribes gather to copy texts, record information, and preserve the memories of earlier generations. You finish breakfast. Bread. Dates. Figs. Honey. Water. The sail rises. The boat moves toward a settlement hidden between low hills. At first, you see only a few houses, then a stone building appears. Its walls are pale in the morning light. A small courtyard lies behind it. Several men sit beneath a shaded roof. They hold pieces of papyrus. Some are writing. Others are reading. The boat reaches the shore. You step onto the landing. A scribe named We welcomes you. He wears a simple linen garment. His hands are stained slightly from ink. He smiles. Come. You follow him into the courtyard. The air is cool. Several scribes are sitting on woven mats. Each has a writing surface. Some hold reed brushes. Small jars of ink sit nearby. One contains dark ink. Another contains red. The scribes work quietly. Scratch. Scratch. The sound is surprisingly gentle. You sit nearby. We explains that writing is a skill that takes years to learn. A young student sits beside him. The boy is practicing signs. His first attempts are uneven. Some are too large. Others too small. Hui corrects them patiently. Again. The boy tries again. Better. Double quotes again. You watch. There is something calming about repetition. One mark. Then another. One word. Then another. One line. Then another. Knowledge grows slowly. Hui shows you a piece of papyrus. It contains a list of goods. Grain. Oil. Cloth. Jars. Dates. Everything carefully recorded. You realize that writing is not only for great stories, it is also for ordinary things. How much grain arrived? How many jars were delivered? which boat carried them. Who received them, who owes something, who paid. The written word helps a large society remember. Without it, information would disappear quickly. We lead you into a small room. Shelves line the walls. Bundles of papyrus are stored carefully. Some are tied with string. Others are kept inside wooden boxes. You look at them. Each bundle contains information, names, accounts. Stories. Prayers. Instructions. Letters. Knowledge from years ago. Perhaps some of these texts will survive for thousands of years. You wonder what it would feel like to write something knowing that people far in the future might discover it. We smiles. Most writing is made for today. He gestures toward the shelves, but sometimes tomorrow remembers. You like that? Tomorrow remembers. Outside, the day grows warmer. The scribes continue working. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound becomes almost like rainfall. You sit beneath the shaded roof. A breeze moves through the courtyard. The papyrus sheets rustle. The ink dries. The students practice. The older scribes read. Everything feels peaceful. At midday, the scribes take a break. Bread is shared. Dates. Vegetables. Water. You eat with them. The conversation is quiet. One scribe talks about the river. Another discusses a shipment of grain. A student complains about difficult writing exercises. Everyone laughs. Even in a house of knowledge, people remain people. After lunch, we takes you outside. There is a small garden behind the building. A few trees provide shade. He explains that scribes often work for long hours. They need quiet. They need light. They need good writing materials. The garden gives them somewhere to rest. You walk beneath the trees. A small fountain of water fills a basin. Birds gather nearby. The sound is gentle. You sit beside it. Your thoughts begin to slow. Perhaps knowledge itself can be peaceful. Not every lesson needs to be difficult. Some things can simply be remembered. The shape of a letter, the name of a place, the amount of grain in a storehouse, the story of a grandfather, the path of a river. A small piece of information can preserve a whole world. The afternoon passes. Before you leave, we gives you a small scrap of unused papyrus. It is blank. You hold it carefully. There is something beautiful about blank paper. It contains nothing. And yet it could contain almost anything. A name, a story, a poem, a list, a memory. You thank him. Then return to the boat. Cloud is waiting. Clink. The crew releases the rope. The boat moves away from the settlement. The house of knowledge becomes smaller. The courtyard disappears. The stone walls fade into the desert, but the thought remains. Words travel, sometimes slowly, sometimes for thousands of years. You continue south. The afternoon light becomes softer. The river widens. A few birds fly overhead. The desert cliffs glow. The boat moves almost silently. You sit at the bow. The blank papyrus rests beside you. You look at it again. Perhaps you could write something, but what? You think about the journey. The green fields. The village beneath the palms. The temple. The boat builders. The gardens. The cataract. The islands. The market. The desert road. The quiet garden. And now the scribes. So many places. So many ordinary lives, all connected by one river. You realize that perhaps this is what you would write. Not about kings. Not about battles. Not about monuments. but about people. The baker making bread, the fisherman repairing his net, the gardener opening the irrigation gate, the basket maker weaving palm leaves, the child launching a wooden boat, the scribe practicing his letters, small lives, quiet lives. Lives that made the ancient world possible. The sun begins to set. The river turns gold, the desert becomes orange. The sky slowly changes to purple. You put the papyrus away. Dinner is prepared. Bread, fish, vegetables, dates. Water. You eat as the first stars appear. Cloud rests nearby. The crew settles down. The river becomes darker. You lie beneath the woven shelter. The sound of the scribes remains in your memory. Scratch, scratch. Like a quiet rhythm, the written words remain behind. The boat continues forward. You close your eyes. You imagine the little courtyard. The shelves of papyrus. The young student practicing, the old scribe reading. The garden behind the house, the blank sheet waiting for a story. The night grows deeper, the river carries you onward. Tomorrow, the journey will continue toward the far southern reaches. The landscapes will become increasingly unfamiliar. The Nile will carry you closer to the lands beyond Egypt's traditional southern boundary. But tonight, you can rest with a simple thought. The world is full of stories. Some are carved into stone, some are written on papyrus. Some are told beneath trees, and some are never written at all. They live quietly in the memories of people. The river carries all of them. You breathe slowly. The boat rocks gently. The stars shine above. The desert rests. The ancient Nile continues flowing. And somewhere behind you, beneath a quiet roof, a young scribe is still learning how to write. Perhaps he makes another mark. Then another. Then another. A tiny line of ink. A tiny piece of memory. A tiny bridge between yesterday and tomorrow. Rest now. The journey continues in the morning.